Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to show you how to attempt to fix a Mercedes cheaply without spending a fortune on parts. But before I do, you remember I have videos that show you how you can use your cell phone to fix your car by using the software that's inside and some programs. Or in this case, the customer used the phone to help destroy her car. So please don't talk or text while you're driving. She ran into the person in front of her by not paying attention. Now this is an '06 V8 Mercedes. Needless to say, it's turning into an endless money pit all by itself. She's not going to keep it for all that much longer. So when she bashed in, she wanted to put a claim on her insurance policy. So I'm going to attempt to fix this to make it look at least decent. Now to fix it the correct way, you got to replace this whole front piece. And it may be cheap plastic crap, but it costs a lot of money. And as you can see here, they don't hold up too well, so I'm going to brace it. Find a good place to brace it. So now the hood won't hit me on the head while I'm working. Now the customer mainly doesn't like it because there's a big hole here now. I sourced out an emblem. There's a zillion different ones, and it turns out that on a broken one like this, nothing's going to fit perfectly, but I'm going to rig it so at least it looks decent. Now all this plastic's broken. We're going to try to put it together at least decently. The piece is being flexible. The first thing I'm going to do is see that this presses in reasonably close. Now all the fasteners are broken inside, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a special type of dental adhesive. Sounds crazy, but it works. I bought it on Amazon. Technically it's called Stowsen White Surface Repair Kit. The dentists use stuff like this, but luckily this comes with various different colors, and I'm going to use the clear one. As you can see here, this one is clear, so it won't really leave any stuff, and it'll look decent. Now since the part we're gluing it to is all broken up, we're going to get some of this nice Gorilla Tape and tape the inside of the top plastic so at least it's held together somewhat in one piece. As you can see now, at least this is going to be together as a solid piece, so at least it'll stay there. Now of course this isn't perfect, but with this all broken up, we're going to have the tabs on the outside instead of the inside, so it'll help hold it together. Then we take the end off of the clear and screw in this little bitty tip, so you can really control what you put on. Since it's clear, you're not really going to see much of it. You make sure it's on there tight. We'll start on this side and we'll put a little bit, squeeze it out gently. Then we cure it with the ultraviolet light. This will cure it and it'll stay on. Do it again just to be sure. It runs for about 20 seconds, so you can turn it back on, hold it on, make sure it's nice and hard before you turn it off. Then we'll do the other side here. Turn the lamp on. The ultraviolet rays cure the sealer. And like I say, we'll do it a few times because it's cold outside. And now you can see it's on pretty solid. It's the same stuff dentists use for teeth, so. And of course you can use the ultraviolet light and the sealer on the little pieces that fell off. I glued them over here and inside here. Yeah, it's old and there's lots of cracks, but at least it's one piece now and doesn't look bad when you close the hood. As you can see, I'll take the prop out. When you close the hood, it's certainly a lot better looking than it was in the beginning of the video with a giant hole and pieces falling off. This is basically good enough till she decides finally it's time to get rid of the thing. It's got oil leak in it. It's going to cost thousands to take the engine apart to repair. So really, it looks a lot better driving around with not having a hole in the front of the car. And if you don't want to spend over $1,000 for a bunch of plastic crap, hey, necessity is the mother of invention. Now, being an ex-hockey player, I got a few fake teeth and cap teeth. Sometimes the caps come off. Hey, I've actually used this stuff, and sometimes it goes years before they fall off again. I don't advise other people to do this, but I find it interesting myself that my grill has something in common with this Mercedes-Benz grill. And since this is Mechanic Monday, I'm giving away one of these sets of really great bonding with ultraviolet light kits. To have a chance to win, place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below to get this cool kit that you can bond all kinds of things with. Because it does say safe to eat off, and I've been eating off of it for years with some of my teeth caps. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Joseph Rivera says, Scotty, is a 1999 Honda Civic good for long drives? I was wondering because I want to take my Civic Kinetic at the Colorado. Can I do that? If it's in good shape now. What? We're talking about a 21-year-old vehicle. It's got some age on it, but if it's in good shape, reason I'd say go ahead and drive it is highway mileage, going 65 miles an hour or more. That wear is equivalent to 10% of city driving. So there isn't that much wear. So if your car is in great shape, hey, you know, it can be perfectly fine. But realize what? It's a 21-year-old car. I mean, you might be going down the road and the fuel pump breaks. You need a new fuel pump. Well, I mean, it's a Honda, and these days you can get parts for them all, so it's not like you're going to be stranded in the middle of nowhere. Unless you're stranded in the middle of nowhere, then it doesn't matter what kind of car you have. You're in the middle of nowhere. Years ago, you couldn't get parts for Japanese cars, but now you can anywhere in the United States. So I would, as long as it's in good shape, I wouldn't have any qualms about driving it there. Johnny Swade says, I got an '01 Toyota Camry, 186,000 miles. It won't pass smog because the cat is not ready. I drove it 1,000 miles since the smog tech told me to. You drove 1,000 miles and the cat is still not ready. You got a problem in that system. Now, it can be oxygen sensors, it could be running too rich, run too lean, or it could be a bad cat. But that thing's got 186,000 miles on it. You probably need a new cat. The advantage of that is you got an older Camry. It's an '01 Camry. You can go out and buy a universal cat. You don't have to go to the Toyota dealer and buy that ridiculously expensive $500, $600, $700, $800 catalytic converter. You can use, like, I use Walker mufflers all the time. It's a big company. And Walker makes cats for them. You can buy a Walker cat for a very good price and install that. And that's what you probably need to do, because if it keeps saying not ready, it means that your catalytic converter isn't bad enough to fail and put the check engine light on. But it's not good enough to pass and be ready. So, odds are you need a new cat for that thing. Daniel Olson said, hey Scotty, what do you think of mom and pop dealerships? Good place to buy a car. Now, if you're talking about a mom and pop setup, I'm assuming you're talking about buying a used car, because a regular dealership, none of them are mom and pop dealerships. I mean, there might be a mother and father that owns them, but they're very wealthy people, because it requires millions and millions and millions to have a dealership these days in the United States of any large corporation. So the idea of mom and pop doesn't exist. But if you're talking about buying a used car from a small place, hey, if they're honest people and they know what they can buy in that area at a good price and then sell it and mark it up, but not mark it up too much, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Make sure that, you know, they've been around in business a long time, and ask some of the people that bought cars from them what their experience was. As the saying goes, would you trust this man to buy a used car from? You're putting a lot of trust in something when you're buying a used car, and you want to make sure they've been doing it for a while and that they're honest people. Joel Verrier says, thoughts on the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. They're excellent vehicles. They're little bitty race cars. Now, they're not giving those things away. They are very expensive vehicles. There's no arguing it. But I got a couple customers that just bought them, and they love them. I mean, they brought them over here for me to road test. I had fun driving around. If you don't mind spending that kind of money for a fast little car, go right ahead. Me, I'd never spend that kind of money because I'm too cheap. But if you got that kind of money and you want a zippy little car, go ahead and get it. I'm sure the resale values will always stay high because they're well made. People like them. They're very popular. Sandy Siebel-Hager says, I love Toyota, but I don't like them rusting. Any suggestion to make them last longer in the Midwest? Well, you must have had awful old Toyotas, because ages ago, Toyota went to the whole body and frame of the car goes into this pond of paint, and it's electrically charged, so that the zinc not only gets on the metal, but if the zinc's negative, the metal's positive. It even gets inside the frame through all the holes. My mother has a 13-year-old Toyota Corolla in Buffalo, New York. No rust on it at all. And it lives outside in the driveway in the snow. She didn't even have a garage. They really don't rust any of the newer ones, and that's a 13-year-old one. You must be talking about the old ones, and yeah, they rusted. The old everything rusted. Father had a '54 Ford Fairlane, 3 on a tree. First car we had went over 100 miles an hour, and it was just rotting away. You could see the road when you're in the back of the kid looking at your feet. Everything was rotting away, but the newer cars, better designs, especially the Toyotas. You don't have to worry about the new ones rusting. Brandon Mohammed says, would you buy a new car? No, not in the sense of brand new, because I'm too cheap. You buy a brand new car, it doesn't matter what kind it is. Let's say you pay $40,000. You drive it off the lot, you lost at least 15 grand there. I, on the other hand, will buy them when they're 8 to 15 or 20 years old. And as long as they've got 60, 70,000 or 80,000 miles, they got so much life left in them, maybe I will pay 20% of the original price. But the car might have 80% of its value left because it can last so long. That's why I like Toyotas. Now, as for buying new cars, if you're talking about new to me, but a used car, yeah, that's how I always bought them. I bought nothing but used cars and used motorcycles my entire life. I'm too cheap. I refuse to pay the sticker because I know they depreciate fast. And if it's a good vehicle and there's plenty of life left in it, hey, buy it when it's used. Save a ton of money. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.